So let's get started. We've spoken about some of these physical symptoms that you might experience, again, the heart rate and the sweaty palms and the breath. So, I can give you a lot of education on, what is stress and anxiety. But, something that's always been really helpful for me is, when you're embodied in that experience of, what does life feel like when I'm not stressed and anxious? What does my body feel like? What's my experience of life? What's my experience of my relationships? Let's try and tap into some of that. So I want to take you through a meditation now that we call the body scan, just to give you all a kind of sense of, what can it feel like when I'm not experiencing these situations, then that then becomes the desired state. So let's begin by bringing your attention to your body. Okay, you can close your eyes if that's something that's comfortable for you. Okay, and I want you to take a few deep breaths. So you just breathe at a rate that's comfortable for you. Okay, so in breath, out breath. Okay, I want you to notice how your body's seated. So wherever you are, you're feeling, the weight of your body. You're feeling what your body feels like in the seat. Okay, maybe you can feel your feet on the floor. Okay, maybe you can feel, is it hot or is it cold? You can notice your back in the chair. Hopefully your back's comfortable. Take a breath. Let's notice what's going on with your hands. Are your hands tense? Are they relaxed? If they're tense, can we relax them? So all the while we're still breathing. I'm going to do it with you. How do your shoulders feel? Do your shoulders feel tense? Are they up or are they nice and relaxed? Let's just let our shoulders be soft. And how about your neck? Sometimes when we're stressed, it comes out in our voice. So we can let that be soft and relaxed. Maybe you want to soften your jaw. For a lot of us, when we feel stressed and anxious, we really clench. Okay, nice big in-breath. And I just want you to notice your whole body. Okay, be aware of your whole body as best as you can. Keep breathing. What does your breath feel like? Let's notice the sensation of the breath as we breathe in. Nice big in-breath and a nice big out-breath. And then I'd like to invite you to take both of your hands, one hand on your chest and the other hand on your belly. Okay, and what often happens when we're stressed or anxious is that we're breathing shallow breaths into our chest. So you're going to notice with your two hands that probably your top hand on your chest is moving a lot more than your bottom hand. Okay, so what you want to do is focus your breath on your belly. Let's take a big deep breath into your belly and notice that the bottom hand that's on your belly is moving now more than the hand that's on your chest. This is called belly breathing or diaphragmatic breathing. Just take some time to notice how that feels. I hope for some of you that feels, or I hope for all of you that feels like a much nicer space to be in. And when you compare that to, the nervous, the anxious experience that we often all have. Okay, so just take some time to breathe into your belly. So this is something that you can do anytime throughout the day. You can do it when you're driving. You can do it when you're in the office. You can do it at home. A lot of people might say things to me like, how can I not bring my stress from work home to my house? And I'll say, just before you arrive to the house, whether you're on public transport or whatever, when you get off the train or when you get out of the car, just take some time and do 5 minutes of breathing. And then you can let all of the stress and anxiety from the day, you can leave that all outside the door. And then you can move into, your home and your space in a completely different way, feeling calm, feeling relaxed. You're ready to be present with your loved ones as well. So that's a body scan that we just did. And it's also a mindfulness of the breath. These are two very effective exercises from the field of mind-body medicine and also mindfulness. So I just wanted to ask, does anyone have any questions about the exercise that we just did. Any questions or any feedback? Maybe you want to share how it felt. Did you feel more relaxed? Was there anything that you didn't like? So I'll just give a minute in case anyone would like to share. Okay, so let's move on to the next meditation. So for people, I'm just assuming that you are all experiencing stress and anxiety because that's what the meditation is about. For many of us, when we experience stress and anxiety, we can kind of get stuck in a pattern where, we're overthinking. We call this the monkey mind. We might be thinking about things that have happened in the past, or we might be worrying about things, being apprehensive about things that haven't happened yet in the future. So in mindfulness meditation, we call this the monkey mind. So it's really like, there's really monkeys running around in your head, and they're chattering a lot, probably causing a lot of problems for you. One of the things that we like to do is just to learn, it's not that we want to push the monkeys away. It's that we want to almost befriend them, so we can notice that they're there, but we want to be friends with them. So what are some of the things that, the monkey might be saying? Again, we've said that worrying about the past or worrying about the future might be saying things like, oh, you shouldn't have said that, you shouldn't have done that, and being overly critical. So just this general like chitter chatter. So I'm sure you've all experienced that. So what are one of the things that we can do in order to manage that? So when we do mindfulness meditation, what we like to do is we like to focus on the present. So we're focusing on the moment. So we're not in our mind. Our mind's probably still there. The monkeys are probably still chattering, but we're paying attention to what is going on around us. So, what does that feel like? What does that look like? I'm not sure where you all are now, but, you really want to take some time to tune into your environment on a daily basis. This is something that we can practice if you feel stressed or anxious. There's an exercise called Notice 5 Things, where we need to try and notice, what do I see in my environment? And really tapping into the senses. So, I can see some pens, I can see my computer that didn't work, I can see my phone, I can see the Zoom call, I can see myself in the reflection. So these are some things that I can tune into. Again, what we've just done here is, tap into that sensation of touch and feeling. What can I feel? I can feel my back on the chair, I can feel my watch. Really tuning into our environment. What can I hear? I can hear birds and the AC. So, when we're doing this, we're not connected and we're not attached to our thinking mind, and it's a thinking mind that causes a lot of these feelings of stress and anxiety. So we have this ability to come away from that and just, to really tap into our environment. Then we're able to become a bit more detached from what we're thinking. And for some people, with practice, you can really slow down your mind, really slow down the monkeys, and get that sense of detachment. So you're in a different space. You're not attached to stories. So we want to really tap into, that feeling of presence. So I'm not sure how many of you have read the Eckhart Tolle book, where he talks about, the sense of being and the sense of presence, and, the I behind or separate from the thinker. And we were able to tap into that place of being, that, it's not our stories, it's not our past, it's not our imagined future. It's just us in the moment, experiencing, feeling, seeing, hearing. That's a really nice space to be in. It's a calm space, because, as I said before, a lot of the time what happens is our thoughts are causing stress and anxiety. So or sadness too, if I'm thinking about everything that happened 5 years ago, 10 years ago, last week, this shouldn't have happened, that shouldn't have happened, that's going to make me feel sad. It's going to make anyone feel sad. I'm thinking, what's going to happen tomorrow? Oh, what if I can't get my car fixed? Or, all of these things that are going on in our mind. That's going to make me feel anxious and stressed. Okay, and I know that we all have worries, we all have concerns, but what we can do with mindfulness is we can take the edge off some of the sensations that are caused by this sometimes overthinking. We want to also be compassionate to ourselves, because, life is tough. Everybody is, always experiences challenges. We all have challenges. We all have times, where things are hard. So, just be compassionate to yourself. You're experiencing stress or anxiety because you're in a difficult situation in your life, and that's okay. That's something that we all go through. So it's also about, taking time to just acknowledge, where you are and what's stressing you out. What problems are you experiencing at the moment? Problems you've experienced in the past as well. But, how are you managing with that? Just having that sense of kindness towards ourselves as well. There's a famous psychologist called Kristen Neff. She talks about self-compassion a lot, and a lot of the time we're very critical to ourselves. When we can have these really deep feelings of, not good enough, unlovable, things that have happened, shouldn't have happened, and it's my fault, and I never do anything right. And I'm just trying to come up with some examples of, how we can be too harsh with ourselves. So it's about having self-compassion, because that negative inner voice can sometimes cause a lot more stress and anxiety than what we realize. So we also want to let go of some of that, and by being mindful and by being aware and present in the moment, even though we might still have that voice, we're able to recognize it for what it is. It's not me, it's not part of me, it's just that it's not me, it's just that small piece that's there. I don't have to be in that story, I don't have to be in that voice, I don't have to be that, but that doesn't mean that it's true. It's just there. So self-compassion is also very important. So I wanted to also, does anyone have any questions at the moment? It doesn't sound like it. So I also wanted to go through another meditation that we can do. So I want to give you lots of tips here that we can use to increase our self-compassion. So this is from Tara Brach. So she talks about the rain of self-compassion, okay, that we will get into just now. So I'd like to invite you all to start with a meditation and with the breath. So again, that's a slow in breath. You just get comfortable where you're sitting. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to just tap into our feelings of the breath. So breathing in, breathing out. Okay, we want to have some time to think about an area of your life. Maybe it's in disharmony, it might be causing some conflict or some stress or anxiety. So keep breathing, because sometimes we're experiencing quite intense emotions when we're doing this. Close your eyes, please, if that's something that's helpful for you. Think about what this area of your life is. I mean, maybe you're being overly critical. It could be to do with work. It could be to do with your self-care. It could be to do with how you are as a parent or a friend. As you think about this, I want you to ask yourself, how does it feel? Okay, so this is bringing awareness. So how does it feel to be in that feeling? Okay, you're stressed or anxious, something's going on in your life. What does that feel like? Just keep breathing. Okay, and then underneath the feeling, there's probably a thought, what we call a belief. Something like, I'm not good enough, I don't do anything right, I can't do this, I'm not enough, I'm unlovable. Just acknowledge that thought. It's not you, it's just there. And what does that feel like in your body? So we need to really work with our emotions in the body in order to let them go. What does it feel like, that feeling? Okay, and let's tap into what does that feel like? What does it feel like in your hands? Does your stomach feel uneasy or your shoulders tense? What's happening in your body? Maybe you notice that your breath has changed. Okay, and as we listen to that place, try and tap into, what does that place in you need? What does it need to hear? And what does it need to feel loved and connected and safe and calm and relaxed? So some of the things that we might come up with are, it's okay, I forgive you. I love you. you're safe. What does that really feel like? Okay, so you can put your hand on your heart and try and think of some kind words that you can say to yourself as you think about this experience that's causing you stress or causing you anxiety. I'm sorry, don't worry, it's going to be okay. So that also feels very nice, doesn't it? When, you know, we enter that situation, or we look at the experience that we're having, and, you know, rather than have that self-critic, the inner critic, rather than having that discord and disharmony with ourselves, we actually take some time to be compassionate towards ourselves. You know, holding your hand in your heart, saying those kind words. So I'd like you to remember what the words were that you said to yourself. And, you know, you can take that with you throughout your day, throughout your working day, into your relationships. And, you know, anytime that you have this feeling, these anxious feelings, or that inner critic that comes up, remember what it was that you said to yourself and repeat those words. Because it's not that, you know, the stress doesn't happen, and it's not that the anxiety doesn't happen. It's that we learn to be present through it, and we also can learn to be more present with it. So what do I mean by that? So it's, while the stress and anxiety is there, you're not attached to that experience. So you're coming from a different place of being, if that makes sense. And, you know, when we have this kindness, you can really feel the difference in your body. Okay, it feels more relaxed. There's less tension in the chest area. Maybe you might notice, oh, you know, I'm going to sit up straight, my posture's changed. So you really can feel the difference in our body. So that's another, I mean, it's a nice meditation to have, but it just, why I wanted to do that with you is it just gives you this really strong sense of, you know, again, what does it feel like when I'm not feeling stressed and anxious? And, you know, there is a different way of being, and I can experience that. Because I think a lot of the time, you know, when you have, you know, high levels of stress, you experience high levels of stress. Stress has been a big part of your life story. Anxiety might be a part of your life story. You can forget, you know, what does it feel like on the other side? And, you know, what can I feel like? What can I strive for? So these are some of the feelings I really just wanted you to experience that, because, you know, I work in a holistic way, and holistic being the whole person. When we are working on the level of the mind, we're able to process thoughts that can cause stress and anxiety, and that's really helpful. But then there's also the level of the physical, of the body, of the emotions, which are stuck, you know, in our physical body. We also need to work with this, because otherwise, you know, we're not taking the whole picture into account. So, you know, people will say to me, you know, I've done all of this, I've monitored my thoughts, I'm not thinking stressful thoughts, I'm not being critical, but, you know, I still feel stressed. So we really need to go into our emotions and feel them, and then we're able to release them. There's also a lot of acceptance that's involved when we're practicing mindfulness and some of these body-related exercises. You know, there's a famous saying, what you resist persists. So, you know, when you have anxiety, you feel anxious, a lot of people will want to run away from that feeling, and, you know, that can be very helpful. But we also need to sometimes acknowledge that it's there, and embrace it, because, you know, the opposite of that is that you can then become anxious about being anxious, and then it's this big, you know, it's like a cycle. So, you know, I often say to people, when we have these intense feelings, you know, we can be with them as well. Like, they can be there, and we can allow them into our lives, rather than always being, you know, this battle against them, which unfortunately will keep them there. It keeps them there with you. And when we can start to accept some of those feelings into our lives, and it's not that you know, you're completely, that it's okay that they're there. You know, you're also allowed to be like, oh, I wish I could transcend this. But just the acceptance that they are there, and I'm going to do my best with them being there, and that can be something that can really reduce the intensity of some of these feelings for a lot of people. So yeah, so that's another one of our meditations that I wanted to work with you on. So again, I just wanted to check in if anyone had any questions. You can let me know. Okay, so yeah, as I said, just pop it in the chat function if you do. So I wanted to just explain a little bit about how these, how some of these exercises can work. So when we're being mindful, like I've said, it takes us out of our thinking mind. But something that it also does is it also trains our brain. So when we practice mindfulness, we're working on the parts of the brain that are responsible for memory, attention. We're really developing language as well. We're really developing these parts of our brain, and they've done a lot of studies where they get people to practice mindfulness for a period of 8 weeks. And what they do notice is that the neural connections in different parts of the brain actually do change, which is something that's really incredible. So that's the brain part. And in terms of the body part, what happens is when we have what I explained earlier is we have this fight or flight response, which is our stress response. What a lot of people haven't been educated on is that we also have an opposite response to the stress response, which is called our relaxation response. So obviously our bodies are very smart and they're not going to just give us a stress response and then we don't have something to counteract it. So when you do exercises like deep breathing and mindfulness, what's actually happening is you're activating your body's relaxation response, which is, yeah, it's a different part of the nervous system from the stress response. So you're really activating that and you're allowing your body that chance to heal, to rest, to relax. So, while we say, okay, well, what happens to me when I feel stressed and anxious? Heart rate goes up, we get sweaty, we get hot, we feel flustered, all of these different sensations. When you're in the relaxation response, which is the opposite, it is the opposite, the heart rate slows down, breathing slows down, it helps with high blood pressure. Like, it's really, really, really incredible. Some incredible tools that we have, and studies after study has shown that it really does have this relaxing effect on our body. So I would really recommend for you all to try and develop a regular mindfulness practice. Some of the exercises that we've discussed today, they can be done really easily. So when you feel stressed and anxious, or someone had asked the other day, what do I do when I'm having a panic attack? Or I feel like I might. Again, that sense of really tapping into your environment, because when we have these sensations, you can get more anxious about the way that we're feeling. Whereas if you're able to tap into your environment and tune into where you are in the environment, you can really make yourself a lot more grounded and a lot more centered, and then that can reduce these feelings of stress and anxiety by a really significant amount. Okay, so that's really tapping into the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What can I see? What can I hear? What can I feel? These types of exercises. We've also covered the breath. So the breath is something very powerful. Again, when you do the deep belly breathing, which is the diaphragmatic breathing, that's activating the body's relaxation response, which again is the opposite of the stress response. So you're really allowing your body that chance to really calm down. It sounds quite basic, but it's so important. And for those of you that do suffer with stress and anxiety, I would say please don't wait until things have been, escalated. Practice it anyway. If you wake up in the morning and you feel good, still do the breathing exercises, still spend 5 minutes doing that, because it can also work in a preventative way. So I use a traffic light system with people. So I say, we're in the green zone when we're feeling relatively calm and relaxed. We're in the amber zone when we've got a few things that are happening in our body, feeling like we're quite stressed, anxiety's, it's there, it's present. And then the red zone is when that's very escalated, and I feel like maybe I'm going to have a panic attack, or I don't know what to do. So we want to introduce these exercises, some of them in the green zone, like the breathing, and then the rest of them we want to introduce them when we're in the amber zone, not when we're in the red, because there's quite a lot to counteract. Whereas if we can get them early enough, then it's going to stop our stress and anxiety from escalating. So I would really try and recommend, for you all to try and implement these exercises into your daily life. you can do the breathing on a daily basis, and some of the longer exercises, like the visualizations or the body scans, they could be done, like maybe 2-3 times a week as well. That's something that can be really helpful as well. So I wanted to do another quick exercise with you. So if everyone can do, we always start with the breath. So everyone can just close their eyes and take some time to breathe in. And breathe out. Okay, you just want to feel your breath, feel what's going on in your body. Okay, and I want you to think about a place or a person that makes you feel very safe. Okay, so it could be a beach, a river, maybe a family member. So something that makes you feel really safe and really connected. Okay, and keep breathing. So a big deep breath in and a deep breath out. Okay, and have a think about, what's going on in this place. So what can you see there? So if I use the example of a beach, I can see the sky, I can see the waves. And just look around you, is there anyone there? Just take some time to really be in that environment. Okay, and an example of a person, what are they wearing? What's the expression on their face? And just take some time to really, really be with that. Okay, and then I want you to think about how do you feel in your body when you're in this place? So notice your posture. Some people notice that they sit up more straight when you do this. What's happening with your breathing? You can keep imagining where you are, looking at the person, looking at the place. Okay, and again, still tuning into the body. How does it feel? Hopefully you're experiencing some more, comfortable sensations than you do when you feel stressed. Okay, is there anything that you can smell? If you're at the beach, can you smell the sea? If you're with the person, do they have like something? Do they have like a perfume or an aftershave? How do they make you feel? Maybe they've given you a hug. As you're there and you're in this safe space, and maybe you want to move around a bit, you might notice you have some tingling on your shoulder. Just follow what your body wants to do. If you want to put your arm up, or you want to move your hands, just really, really listen to that. Remember, you're still breathing. Is there anything you can feel when you're in this safe place, this comfortable place and connected place? Is there anything you can feel? And maybe if I'm at the beach, I can feel the sand on my feet. Maybe I can feel the wind. Is there something that you can feel? Does your body feel any different while you're taking this time out and to be in this safe place? Okay, and we're still breathing. And I want you to really, really, really absorb all of these elements of your environment. And how it really feels. How do your emotions feel? So this is what we call a safe place meditation. If you haven't already, I'd like you just to take a bit of time to come back from that. Okay, so start to notice more how you feel, where are you now? Open your eyes if your eyes were closed. Start to look around the room. What can you see here? You can see the lights, the pens, the computer. How do things feel here? Okay, just take some time. Maybe you want to stand up, move around. And I hope that some of you can feel that feels calmer. I'd like to hear a bit about how different that would feel, or for you to think about how different does that feel compared to how you feel in your day-to-day life, because many of us are on automatic pilot. We're running, we're rushing, we have this feeling of everything being very elevated, and it is because most of us, I think the average American, we don't have a lot of data for Dubai, but the average American spends goes into the stress response 300 times a day or something. We're always in this kind of, I call it elevated, we're always in this elevated state, rushing, thinking, doing. But I wanted to give you a chance to experience what it feels like when we're being, we're in this state of being. You're connected to yourself, you're connected to the world, you're connected to maybe spirit as well. And that's a really nice place to be in. And we're able to connect to other things there, our sense of intuition, maybe some guidance. We're able to connect to our feelings, to our emotions. How do we feel? We're able to connect to other people a lot better. Higher forms of intelligence are easy to access, and we're able to access different parts of our brain as well. When you're in this fight or flight place, our brain's almost hijacked by our reptilian brain, and our kind of more basic parts of our brain. Whereas when we're in this like meditative calm state, and we're able to access more of the prefrontal cortex, and higher forms of intelligence as well, problem solving, reasoning. So it's really a nice place for us to be in, and a nice energy and a nice space for us to embody as well. So that's something, the safe space meditation. It's something that we use in therapy. Sometimes if someone wants to talk about something, I might ask them to go to their safe space, or if someone's experiencing high levels of stress or anxiety throughout the day, and you just really want to reduce the physical sensations of that, then you can do your visualization, and just imagine yourself there, and hopefully that will be able to reduce a lot of the physical sensations that often come with stress or anxiety. For anyone that found that a little bit tricky to go into that place and into that visualization, you can actually find guided meditations as well, where they will tell you that what the scene is. or if we do something in a session, I might be able to guide you into like a nice beach area or the forest or something. If you find it difficult to visualize that for yourself, you can find something called a guided meditation, a guided visualization as well, that will be able to help you with that. So that's our last meditation for the day. So again, I've given you quite a few tools here that you can use. So we've got the mindfulness of the breath to activate the relaxation response. We've got the being present in the moment and being mindful. We've got the self-compassion, and then we've also got the safe place. And I hope that I've given you, as I said, I hope that I've given you all a chance to experience, that sense of calm that we can get from, being mindful and meditating, because we hear about meditation a lot, but, to really experience, what does it feel like when, I'm observing my thinking mind rather than being attached to it, and what does it feel like when I'm in that state of presence that everyone talks about, and being here in the now that everyone talks about, what does that really feel like? I know there's a lot of hype around it, but it really does feel incredible. It does to me. It just feels like such a nice space to be in, to experience. It's really helpful for managing stress and anxiety as well. And if you practice over time, we say about 8 weeks, you can really start to change your brain and start to change your physiology. So you're experiencing less intense stress and anxiety, but you're also experiencing stress and anxiety less often. So I think that's something really incredible, and if we can achieve it through meditation, through mindfulness, outside of other things that we might have to do, then I think that that's definitely an investment that's worth making. So I've got a meditation course coming up on the 21st, and Saturday the 21st of May. It's from 11 till 5. It's a beginner's course in meditation. So I'll be teaching a lot of mindfulness exercises, teaching about meditation in general, teaching self-compassion, how to let go of your inner critic. So really deepening a lot of the things that we've discussed today. You'll leave with a big toolbox of meditations that you can use in your daily life, as well as a practical plan as to how to start a meditation practice. And I'll be there to answer any questions and give you individual guidance as to how you can use meditation to help your particular situation and to address your needs. It's also something that maybe you can bring home to the family as well. So it's, just a really nice practice to have, especially with mindfulness. We've got a program called Mindfulness-Based Stress Reduction that's been shown to be very, very effective, and a lot of the studies that I've mentioned, they actually come from specifically that area. They use it in a lot of healthcare clinics as well. It can really be used to maximize your well-being and your physical health as well. So if any of you would be interested in doing the course, you can get more information from Illuminations. And it would be great to see some of you there. Honestly, I'm such an advocate of meditation just because I love the way that it feels, and I know how effective it is, coming also from a clinical background. I understand, the amazing effects that meditation and mindfulness can have on our mind, our way of being, our physical body. It's really such an incredible tool to use. So so that is the end of the class. I would like to ask again, if anyone does have any questions, please feel free to speak on the microphone, or you can ask on the chat function. Anything that you want to know about, I'd be really happy to answer, because there's always a lot of nuances with these things. We can apply it differently for different people based on what the issue is or what the situation is. So yeah, I'll be here for the next few minutes if anyone would like to ask any questions. Okay, thank you. Thanks very much, Hajar. Okay, so thank you, so Samira. So the course is in person, but I'll be holding it at Illuminations, just because I think it's helpful, for you to experience, there's a group energy as well for you to experience, what the feelings. However, if you can't make it, I'll also be able to hold it online. I think we're going to have cameras there as well, so you can just let the centre know, and we'll be able to work something out. So we've got another Hajar. The safe space meditation is something I would be looking into through a guided meditation. Yeah, absolutely. So as I said, safe space meditation, we use that in therapy a lot, because sometimes when, stress and anxiety, they're intense. Anxiety can be very intense, and depending what has caused it, sometimes going into it and, speaking about things can bring up a lot of feelings. So we always have the safe space that we can go to, but I would, ask people to have that just generally in their life. If you've got something, it could be anything, a work project, presentation, something's coming up and you think, oh, I feel really stressed about that, you can just zone into that space, and then what you're actually doing is you're actually training your body. When I have this visualization, when I think about this space, it will then invoke feelings of calm, feelings of being relaxed, and it will be something that you'll find quite grounding. Again, this gets reinforced over time. So the more that you go into your safe space from a place of relaxation, again, whenever you start to then visualize it, the physical effects of relaxation will follow. That makes sense. So yeah, I would really recommend that meditation. It's really, really nice. You're welcome. Thank you. Something else. Okay, thank you, Aina. Yes, so again, first time learning about meditation. So if you're interested in the course, it is a beginner's course. And one of the things that I'm personally very passionate about is, making these things accessible, and, easy to understand, because I think, a lot of these concepts can, they can seem quite complicated. But it's my job, and part of my mission is to just to make it very accessible to people, so people have access and understanding of some of these techniques, and so they're actually able to use them in their everyday life, and then reap all of the benefits from that as well. So I hope that you enjoyed the class. Okay, wonderful. Okay, and then you can also find me at Illuminations. So I do individual sessions in person and online, so depending on what suits you, and I cover a range of different techniques. So one of the things obviously I teach is mindfulness meditation. The reason I teach this is because I think it's one of the most effective tools that I've ever come across for managing stress and managing that stress response and anxiety response in our body. So for me, I would love for everybody to practice mindfulness and meditation on a regular basis. I also do cognitive behavioral therapy, so that's working with the mind, how we're thinking, and how our thoughts are helping us or not helping us, contributing to things like stress and anxiety and different moods. So really working with that. I use an integrative approach as well as coaching techniques. So I'm really working in a holistic way to bring together all of these different elements from the mind, the body, the emotions, and the spirit. And for me as well, I mentioned before, We can work on this level of the mind, which we do with cognitive behavioral therapy, but often, it's not the full picture, because we really need to work with our bodies as well. And the emotions are stored in the physical body. How can we address that? We can experience them and release them. But a lot of the time we do need to work with the nervous system. So stress and anxiety are caused by, imbalances in the nervous system. So I also do body psychotherapy. Part of that is mindfulness as well. Into how can we regulate our nervous systems, and how can we physically regulate our emotions through the mind-body connection. So I have a course on that as well, actually, in June, which will be really interesting, because I haven't seen it much in Dubai. So I'm really looking forward to teaching people about that mind-body connection, and how can we influence our physiological responses through what we're thinking, and how we manage our nervous system. So that's going to be something very interesting too. So anyway, I think we might have, yeah, okay, well, thanks very much. So Pia at Illuminations has just shared the link there as well. So if anyone's interested in that, or interested in coming for a session as well, I do have awareness sessions available. So you can, again, contact the centre and they can book you in for like a 30-minute consultation, or an hour consultation, and we can, find out if there's anything that I can help you with as well. Okay, so I think that is, unless there's any more questions, I think that would be a good place to stop. Again, thank you all for coming. I hope you found the session beneficial. Again, please do try and practice some of the exercises. Mindfulness and meditation is really one of the most incredible things that you can do for your well-being. So yeah, it was really nice having you all online for the class, and hopefully I'll see some of you again soon. Hopefully I'll see you at the course, if not at the centre. Yeah, and I hope you have a great evening as well. Thank you. Thank you too.